Hello everyone and welcome back to Blitz. On today's menu is a review of the Japanese Tier 10 medium tank, the STB-1. If you don't like spoilers, then turn off your sound now, because this tank is epic. It's just pure fun to play and has some great features which you need to use to your advantage to have success with it. First off is the gun depression, which excels with 10 degrees, giving it the combined best depression along with the FV4202 of any Tier 10 tank. Secondly, this tank has a very solid turret, which can bounce pretty much all regular ammo reliably as long as you keep wiggling it. Third, whilst the FV4202 trades its mobility to get the HESH and the gun depression, the STB-1 has on-par mobility with the T62A, giving it a big advantage compared to the British medium tank. And let's just quickly run through the overall stats of the tank, starting with the gun. The gun has a rate of fire of 7.79, which gives a base DPM of 2,723, with each shot giving you 350 damage on average. This is quite acceptable, as you can see from the following table. Just around 10% worse than the, and yes, I mean it, OP-T62 and Object 140, but not bad compared to the other Tier 10 medium tanks. The average penetration is 258, which is worse in class, but does suffice against most tanks that you meet. The lower penetration does however mean that sometimes you will bounce shots of even easy targets such as the lower plate of an E75 or an E100. The accuracy is also a combined class worst with the M48 pattern at 0.36, and the aim time is also a worst in class at 2.1 seconds, which very surprisingly is 0.2 seconds worse than the Tier 9 Japanese medium tank, the Type 61. The tank comes equipped with a Mitsubishi engine of 750 horsepower, and with a weight of roughly 37.5 tons, this tank gets a very good power to weight ratio of 20 horsepower per ton. This combined with the good traverse speed of the tracks means that this tank is very nimble to drive, which I hope you've been able to see in the first part of this gameplay. Switching to the armor of tank, there is pretty much only one side of the tank I need to show you, and that is frontally. The side and rear armor is non-existing with 35 and 25 mm respectively, which means that most tank that you will meet will overmatch the sides and rear with the 3 times overmatch rule. Looking at the tank from the side, you can see that the frontal armor is sloped at a very high angle, and you can accentuate that by using the excellent gun depression. On paper, the tank has 110 mm of frontal hull armor and 102 mm or 32 mm of frontal turret armor. And let's take a look at Armour Inspector to see how this works out in practice. I selected the Object 140 gun, shooting regular APCR ammo as the shooter, and instantly you can see that the turret is strong, and the upper part of the hull is strong. Switching to the armor detail mode, you can see that the only part of the hull which is in fact 110 mm thick are the tiny spots in yellow that I have highlighted now. The other parts of the hull armor are 80 mm and 40 mm respectively. So be aware of this area that's 40 mm because it's sloped at an extreme angle. But because it's only 40 mm thick, that means that if someone is shooting at you with a gun that has 3 times the caliber of your armor, so that means 120 mm, they will overmatch it and pen you instantly. The turret is very strong, but it does have a few weak points. The commander's cupola on top and the right and left side of the gun where the sloping hasn't really started yet. The turret is strong enough to reliably play this tank on ridge lines, and as long as you keep the enemies straight in front of you, you can bounce quite reliably. But I think it's time to show how this tank performs in some more gameplay. So for the first game, I've decided to select this game on Fort Despair, and Fort Despair is not a typical medium map, and the reason I've selected this gameplay is because it does show you how you can play this tank as a second line support, and you can really have a big impact when you do that. So I've decided to push into the middle, try to get on this little ridge, because I know that the enemies, they don't have medium tanks, so I want to be able to get the spots down the alley where I suspect that their heavy tanks are going to go and slug it out. So I'm just waiting patiently. I can see that all of my team have come with Thorumba and I, who's driving his FV4202, and supporting us here at the middle. So I would have liked if one of them had gone down through the right, and because I was a bit unaware, I missed the initial shot, but the mouse appears, and the mouse is very slow, and it's very difficult to miss the mouse when he's driving in front of you, even at this kind of a range. So it looks like they're just pushing through. They're not going to meet anyone, but we spot the Jagdpanzer E100, and I'm going to try to do some work on him. And this is going to give you an idea of how the heat shells performs, and also give you an idea of the accuracy, because the accuracy isn't great, but at ranges of approximately 150 to 200 meters like I'm shooting at now, it's more than enough to hit every single weak spot on most tanks. So I'm basically just buttering the cheeks of the front of his tank with heat. I know that I could maybe be hitting the lower plate, but it is on a downward angle and I'm shooting from above him, so I'm not going to take any chances. I'm just going to roll out the heat, make sure I pen my shots, and make sure we can finish off this guy quickly and go help with the mouse and the other enemies. So we managed to take him out pretty quickly, and get a feel for the mobility here as well. You can see it's pretty good, and it turns very, very good. So that makes it very, very fun to drive, in my opinion. It feels like in the way of the driving, it feels a bit like the Object 140, to be honest. But the Object 140 does have the crazy Russian 100mm gun, which shoots so amazingly fast that yeah, most tanks are gonna have a hard time. So I can land a few shots here on the Jagdtiger, and the Rumba, he kind of tunnel visions. He doesn't see the Jagdtiger, but he's loading the Hesh, and we do a double shot on him, take him down to below half his hit points. So you can see I still have all my hit points left, and I'm gonna kind of do a noob thing here. I completely overestimate the armor of this tank, and I simply just rush a lot of enemies at once and making them be able to shoot me from multiple sides. And when you are facing enemies, you really want to be keeping the front of your tank towards them. You don't want them to be able to shoot you from multiple sides, because it just means that you'll get penetrated much more easily. So the Jagdpanther here, I try to take off his tracks, I miss. Oh, I take a shot from the mouse, I take a shot from the Jagdpanther, and this is all just looking very bad suddenly. So I went from full hit points to basically nothing in a few seconds. But luckily, our team has cleaned up very efficiently, and I can go for the mouse now. So the mouse is a very satisfying target to face, even in a 5 versus 1 like, or 6 versus 1 like this is. Because his turret traverse is just extremely slow, and I'm so much faster than him, so I can just keep on doing circles around him. And also because this tank has a very, very small silhouette, I have no problems dodging the most of his shots. You can see I can go past him here, he can barely depress his gun enough to hit me. And I have no problems just putting shot after shot into his side. You can hear he's actually bouncing so many shots from my teammates, but yeah, he's living on borrowed time, so he's going to be finished off in a few seconds. And I think this game, it did show you the potential of the premium ammunition, because the premium ammunition doesn't have supreme penetration like some other premium ammunitions do, but it does suffice to take on the tricky spots of for example, the Jagdpanzer E100, the cheeks of his turret, and that's something that you're going to use. So off to the next gameplay, which is on Dead Rail, and this game is a bit interesting as well, because I can see that the enemies, they have some very, very strong CDs, and our E75, he starts off on very, very good terms by calling us all noobs, and thanks to you for that. That was really a nice thing to do in the start of the game before anyone had moved. But anyway, let's get on. And I try to go to the middle hill here and try to get some spots for my team. I don't really spot anything, which does kind of surprise me, until the FV4202 appears. I can't make a shot. I would have only tracked him. I see the Jagdpanzers in the corner, and I think, okay, I'm kind of surrounded here. I want to take off the IS-8's tracks, and I managed to do so. So he wastes his repair kit. The Jagdpanzer E100, he's still behind the rocks, so I can sit here pretty comfortably before that the Jagdpanzer he starts cresting the hill and comes out to attack me. So you can see we've only spotted 4 of the enemies so far, so they still have 3 tanks unspotted. There was the T-28 prototype, but we're still missing the Object 704, and we're still missing the T-44. So I can see that the Jagdpanzer, he's cresting the hill now. I really wanna take him out, because he's the reason why I can't advance forward. him being there means that if I crest the ridge, and because I don't know where the object 704 is, I could be running into a world of hurt. If they hit me with HE on the side, the Jagdpanzer, he could take off 65% of my hit points with a single shot. The object 704 could take off at least half my hit points just with an average damage roll. So because the back and the sides of this tank are very weak, it's vulnerable to HE ammunition, and you really need to make sure that enemies who have good HE penetration are not going to be able to shoot at your sides, because you're just going to get wrecked. So the FE-4202, he got tracked. I try to take a shot through the two houses, but I don't connect. So instead, I push forward, try to see where the Jagdpanzer is. I spot him. I want to take off his tracks. But I only hit the wheel. I don't do any damage. So I pop the adrenaline because I want to keep him tracked. Oh, and I do take a shot. I take 2 shots actually, and you can see I lost quite a lot of hit points there, and I didn't penetrate this shot. That's one of the very annoying things with this tank. The penetration, sometimes it fails you completely. So you can actually see this wasn't a good trade for me, because I lost most of my hit points fighting off the Jagdpanzer, but he was in a strong position, so I kind of did help out my team. So anyways, pushing back up to the middle, I can see that I know the Jagdpanzer, he's dead. I don't know where the object 704 is, and I don't know where the T-44 is. So I have an idea that they're at the back camping. So I decide, okay, there's no reason to go fight them right now. I can just go help my STA-1 buddy here and make sure that he gets through the game alive. So I put a tracking shot into the Centurion. I meant to damage him there, but I didn't do it. So I push up, take another shot, make sure the STA-1 gets behind me. He's behind me, and I'm going to try to bounce this Centurion, and no problems doing so. You could see I could bounce that shot because I was angling upwards, and he was most likely just shooting my upper plate. So he was gonna have a very hard time penetrating me. And at this point, I get a bit annoyed at the 2 TDs we have on our team. They should really be advancing. They know that there are 3 enemies left, and we've taken and we don't know where they are. So we need to punish these guys before they manage to regroup and get into good positions. So for the first time in the game, the object 704 appears, and you can see the penetration kind of failed me again there. The 258mm, it's good, but sometimes it just doesn't feel like it's enough. So my little brother, he decides to send me some stuff on Facebook while I'm playing, but what can you do? Anyway, the 704, you can see I took a blind shot at him. I did penetrate him, and I'm trying to land good shots, but I've actually already bounced twice on this guy now. And I mean, you all know that the Object 704, it doesn't have great armor. The armor is good, but it's not great. And I can see the E75, who was calling us all noobs before, he's down to very low health. And I want to make sure that he stays in the game, because he's going to have a lot better chance to bounce either the Object 704 or the T-44 than me. So I push forward, try to play a bit defensively, a bit cautiously. The 704 appears, and I land a snapshot at the top left side of his tank. He's gonna come up and try to take a shot at me. Or if he snapshotted there, he could have hit me, but luckily he doesn't. So, but you see, I took another shot there, and I can see that he's over in the corner, judging by where the arrow was. The E75s spot him, he's camping, and I know that, so I decide I'm not going to attack him through all the way where he thinks I'm going to come from. I'm going to go around and try to get an early spot on him, so I don't die, because this tank, it's weakly armored, so it's hard to stay alive if you have to play very aggressively. And the Ferdinand, he wants to go cap, but I guess he doesn't calculate that well, because there's just no time to cap. So I decided to push through the valley area here, and the E75 has also gone towards the T-44, and he's gonna spot him in just a second. He's camping in the top right part of the corner, and there he is. Instantly aim, shoot, bang. Double shot, and he loses over half his hit points. So I think he had an okay game, the T-44, but in all honesty, he should have played it much more aggressively. He could have rushed the E75, killed him. He could have probably also killed me. But he doesn't manage to do so. So we end up the game with a nice win. I finish off with with a pretty okay damage roll of 4,500, and picking up 6 kills. You can also see I didn't need to shoot a lot of premium this game, so I made a profit even though I did finish a mission, so that kind of does disturb the picture. Anyways, off to the next game. This time we're gonna be playing on Canal. So I'm platooned up with Tharumba and his FV4202 again. We did quite a few games in this session, so I picked up some pretty good footage, and I think especially this game highlights some of the key strengths of this tank. One of the things that I haven't mentioned yet is it has excellent view range, 270 meters, which is simply outstanding. So I like to accentuate that by putting binoculars on this tank. And you might say, okay, why not coated optics? But I guess it's just kind of like a preference thing. I prefer on my lightly armored medium tanks to use the binoculars, because I really think that 270 meters of view range, in addition with 25% on top, is just amazing. And I do spot the E75 and I spot an IS-3 coming up here. I'm not too worried that they're gonna be able to do anything to me. So I'm just simply picking away at this IS-3, who's gonna have a 0 damage game, which isn't a nice impact. But I really think that going through the river where he went is just a very bad idea in general. You can really run into some troubles. In this game, we're also fighting 2 FV215B 183s. So both of those tanks, if they both connect their shots on one of us, we're gonna die. So we really need to be careful, because those TDs, they have some massive damage, and especially me, because I'm in a lightly armored tank. If they hit me with Hesh on the front, even with a low penetrating Hesh on the sides, they're gonna cause me a lot of trouble. So luckily Tharumba, he bounces a shot here, the E50. He doesn't manage to hit Tharumba, and I do manage to do some nice damage to him. So luckily we do spot one of the 183s. He was down there in the corner, and I suspect he's going to be there with his platoon mate. So it's pretty close right now. It's 4-4, and I can see the E75, he's on low hit points. But I am a bit worried because the FV215Bs, they are on a lot of hit points. So I'm just going to balance out the scores here, killing the E75 with a very, very easy side shot. So unfortunately I get spotted. They know where I am now. So I'm just rolling a bit around, waiting for myself to re-stealth again. Then I'm going to try to crest this ridge and use the excellent view range and the excellent gun depression to get some vision for my team. So I managed to spot the FV, one of them. You could see I wasn't spotted before I shot. So there's a 3-second delay before the light bulb appears, and that means that I wasn't spotted before I shot. So that's very important to note, and that really means that you can play these ridge lines very, very effectively. And you can see we've taken them down to quite a respectable amount of hit points. So but I'm still very worried, because 1 hit on Tharumba, he's dead. 2 hits on me, and I'm dead. So I asked the T-54 to go cap. If we cap, they're gonna have to attack us, and we can maybe play it a bit more cautiously than what we actually do. But the 54, he doesn't mind. So I asked the Rumbar on TeamSpeak to go to the cap circle, and he does so. The 54 is coming around now. You can see we're gonna try to create a pincer movement against these enemies. This is a classical tactic, which is very, very effective. So I go out when he's around, when he's almost there. He lands the shot. I move in. Take a shot on the FV, penetrate him easily, and you can see he's down to a 1 shot now. So if it wasn't for me failing miserably with my aim time here and where the enemy is, I would never have taken that hit. But nevertheless, we finish him off quite effectively, and we can me and the 54, we can go in and go get this final FV215B183. So I actually also have a VK somewhere, tier 8 VK heavy tank. Oh, and I bounced my shot here. I'm derping a bit around, trying to get some easy shots. Do penetrate him, and the 54 takes him out quite effectively. So I can see that the VK, he's over there. He spotted Tharumba. Tharumba, he's making a run for it because he's on low hit points. There's no reason for him to die. So I land a good shot on the VK, and you can really see I don't shoot on the move with this tank, especially not at this kind of range. I wanna close the distance between my shots, so I move like maybe 40 meters, 50 meters, and let it aim again, and just simply take the shot. So this, I think this replay really showed you the view range and how you could use the view range to your advantage by using the ridge lines to make some excellent hold down plays. So anyway, I hope you got a taste for this great Japanese tier 10 tank, and if you did, feel free to drop me a comment, let me know what you think about it. And also, if you check the description of the video, you'll find there's a link to some additional gameplay, 2-hour stream that I recently did on WoTB. So check that out. There's some ace gameplay footage in it, some really epic games, color ban-offs, etc. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a nice night.